welcome to the third and final game of this week. It is Obversion, not observation, Obversion. Uh, it is a real word. Um, in fact, we talk about this, and we talked a whole bunch about the making of this game with the creator about a week ago?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
Yeah. So we have a whole interview about not just how the game was created, but the artistic merits and all of that in our archives. So if you want to learn more about those things, you can access that. If Twitch had a better linking system, we'd have a link to that, but they don't. So
Maybe one day. Maybe one day.
yeah. Anyway, so for those who missed the interview, Obversion is a first-person puzzle game. You are, well, nobody. Um, as it turns out, there's no avatar here. There's no story. You are just, let's say you, and you are just solving puzzles to solve puzzles, I guess. There's no framing device. There's no narrative here, which is unusual for this kind of puzzle game, quite frankly. I
Yeah, they
can't
usually give
say-
you at least an excuse plot.
Yeah, I can't say I'm a big fan of that, honestly, because usually to explore the deeper merits of artistic expression, they usually these kind of games usually give you a grounding. Like, you are usually a person with a purpose, and that kind of detachment could dissuade some people. I don't know, it's like, I suppose I can distill my problem with this is there's no why to, why am I solving these things? Why am I jumping up blocks? Why am I destroying stuff? There's no rhyme or reason to it. It just is. And that's, mainly due to the artistic focus of the game, which is math. And once again, we talked a lot about this with Adrian. It is the exploring of the conceptualization of duality, but not the more traditional thinking of duality, as in light, dark, two different states of man, that sort of thing. No, it's the duality between cubes and octahedrons. I'm like, which is, if nothing else, a very unique take on duality. But this isn't even a take on duality. It is a take on obversion. Obversion refers to the actual state. It is the third thing. It is the process of creation or destruction. And that's how it ties into the puzzles. The puzzles are, do you create a cube? Do you destroy a cube in order to progress? And that's the basic conceit of figuring out how to conquer a level. When do you, where do you place this particular cube? Where do you destroy the, it's like, and this is done by...
You can place on any yellow thing, and you can destroy any yellow thing.
Yeah, originally this game was going to have a more traditional, though unintentional, viewpoint of duality, right down to light and dark, having black and white represent two facets of duality is very old. But I mean, clearly this was ditched because the first world here is decked out in, it's more black and gold.
Which honestly also it looks better, not quite so high contrast. So
right,
I ain't complaining.
It's easier on the eyes. And as far as how it works as a puzzle game, it's a solid experience. It's got a simple premise that builds upon itself level by level. Like it's not just a matter of shattering or building blocks. It's a matter of jumping as well. Like you've got to figure out where exactly to put the cube to make sure you make the jump. And
because you can jump 1 block high and you're 2 blocks tall. And I'm sure the distance you can jump is also strict, but I didn't figure out exactly what it was.
And there are 4 distinct worlds with 4 distinct color schemes, and you do get upgrades to the. I will admit I didn't play that far into the game because, well, I had other things to focus on. Yeah, that's just kind of how it goes with these things sometimes. But it's like I spent about 2 hours, which certainly was enough to get the general conceit and feel of the game. And once again, its design is solid. Its premise is solid. It's a very solid game. I can definitely say, though, that Adrian did not complete his task. And, he said he set out to make the next great first-person puzzle game. I mean, this isn't the next Portal. Like, I can say that with some confidence. It's a very, once again, it's a very 7 out of 10 game. Very solid. I enjoyed it. But, it
doesn't have that extra wow factor that, for example, the puzzles in this are probably, I don't know, I guess there's less versatility, at least until late game, than in Portal, but the puzzles weren't the thing that really was the wow factor in Portal. It was the dialogue or monologue, really, right. And the cute little and the interesting little hidden areas.
Yeah. This game does, even like another first-person puzzle game that we reviewed not too long ago, the Turing Test had that kind of, maybe not that specific comedic personality, but it had personality. That's another problem with this game. It's a bit vanilla.
And what's his face? The one we just did.
I'm not sure what you're referring to.
What's his face's revenge?
Oh, I'm kind of blanking on it.
Shows how much we remembered it. Kirchhoff.
Oh, Kirchhoff's revenge. Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm. Admittedly, that was kind of aping Portal a little bit directly, but
yeah. Or Quantum Conundrum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I mean, that's not what this game is going for. But
oh no, I'm not saying it is what it's going for. I'm just saying, just pointing out that those games all had a bit more of an obvious hook for the player to get invested.
Right. Well, I mean, that goes back to my main, one of my main issues. There's no personality of any. It's like you are and like for example, the Petty just picked up a yin yang here. You would think that would flow into the idea of duality, and it does in a general sense, but in terms of the game, it's pointless. The yin yang doesn't actually mean anything in context to the game. It's just a collectible. And that's an issue with the artistic bent. Like, this game went with art as math, and like I said, it's a very unique track, but it's not a track that has a lot of obvious thematic depth. So I'm of two minds about that. Like, I do like the fact that this game is exploring an artistic subject matter that is not just another, good, evil, didactic examination of the condition of man.
Mm-hmm. It's a neat art project. It's just not as fun to play as a lot of games are.
I suppose. I mean, like I said, it doesn't make me think profound, deep thoughts like but that could be a subjective matter. Like, if you're
maybe we're just not good enough at math to like get it.
maybe, but it's like if you're the kind of person who enjoys fractals and sees the beauty in that, outside of the obvious when you see them laid out, this is your game. In fact, the inspiration was fractals. Uh, you know, so and keep in mind, I'm not saying anything's wrong with this game. It's just it's more of a this isn't our particular cup of tea.
Yeah, and it's probably a fairly rare thing that this is aiming for.
In terms of
Fan, you can't cheat the maze. You have to play it properly. This is to let you see how to do it.
Quiet, man.
I mean, don't just run through it, but like you could map out your path from above.
I want to run and screw the system.
But yeah, in terms of graphical fidelity, it's okay. Like, it's not really going to push any systems, but looks nice. The music is some nice piano arrangements. Once again, we talk a lot more about the creation of the music and how it ties into the game and its artistic merits. It's a 3-bridge structure, if I'm remembering correctly, and like, there's never like note of silence. I gotta admit, music isn't my forte either, so I'm not. I wasn't exactly sure what he was getting at in terms of the music. Like, we all have our weak points in terms of knowledge bases. Music construction is one of mine.
Sometimes music is kind of symmetrical, and that's what they were going for.
Right. I mean, it's also, music is a kind of math. Mm-hmm. Math is is once again the big overriding artistic thesis of this entire game. Like, which does make it doubly odd that we've got like generic deep thought quotes from various philosophical thinkers. You'd think we'd be getting more mathematicians.
Maybe it's for mood.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it fits the whole Zen, clear your mind aspect of this kind of game. Which ironically doesn't really work because you're thinking really hard of how to figure out the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, pricing. So this game usually clocks in at $10, $9.99. It is on sale for 15% until, about 39 hours from now, as of this recording. It is 15% off at $8.49. Is this game worth? I would say it's definitely worth $10 or $8.49. Can definitely recommend it at that price without any hesitation. Overall, it's a very solid game. I will say it's not particularly my cup of tea in terms of artistic expression, but not everything needs to be. Not everything is going to match up with what X person is going to like.
It's at least pretty forgiving on the ability to redo stuff. So if you don't mind trial and erroring some of the things.
Yeah, and it's a pretty short game, all things considered. It'll take you about 4 to 8 hours to run through, depending on if you take on the extra challenge of getting the yin-yang symbols. And there's no...
Which can be legit tricky. I did not. Even there's one in the first level that... Well, the first level you're very constrained, and I couldn't figure out how to get that one. So.
Yeah. I'm sure that there will be there's probably going to be online guides to do that eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Solid game. Not sure how much this is going to stick with me, though. That's another thing. We'll see it like the end of the year or whatever. But, for the moment, definite, once again, 7 out of 10. Buy it if thinking about math appeals to you kind of deal. And, yeah, that'll about do it. Indeed, that'll about do it for this review installment. So the week ahead. Let me see. Coming up on Wednesday, February 5th, we'll be having returning to the program Joseph Tringali of Digital Continue. Trying to remember the game that like Party Smash or something like that. God, and live research. Like I think it was called Party Smash, but let me double check on that. Let's see. Let's do 5. No. Trying to keep the dead air away. Come on. Search for. Come on. Nope.
Super Smash? Or Super Mash, I mean?
Yeah, Super Mash. No, it's something like that. Yeah, which is kind of a build your own game simulator type deal. No. It's, if nothing else, interesting. And yeah, we'll be talking about that this week. No Friday show this week. So until Wednesday, I shall wish you good gaming.